We're going to keep our program moving right along, and our next speaker is a junior at our Bradley chapter, Nikkoh Mendoza. This mechanical engineering major is the current Bradley chapter president. Belonging is very simple as a word, but huge as a concept. Nikkoh has seen his chapter celebrate many successes in the recent years, and he knows that none of them would exist without each member knowing that he belongs. For him, a sense of belonging is the greatest and most lasting value of brotherhood. The need to belong isn't strictly bound to the fraternity, but it extends to every aspect of our life. Join me in welcoming Nikkoh Mendoza and his Ignite entitled, Creating a Greater Sense of Belonging.
So hey guys, today I'm going to talk about creating a greater sense of belonging within our chapters. And I've been a member of DU for 2 years now, and already DU has granted me and my brothers so many memories, skills, and opportunities that I'll forever be grateful for. I've been able to find my place in my chapter, to grow, and to form lifelong relationships that I'll never forget. But that was all because of one thing, and that was only possible with a sense of belonging. Now, belonging is something that we're all familiar with, and we've all heard of before, but it's something that we don't really sit back and think about, and we never sit back and think, how did this all happen? What was it, or who was it that made us feel as if we belonged? Now, I'm not gonna lie, when our good friend Noah approached me with this topic, it was a little nerve-wracking, because we all do so many things already that we do to promote belonging. How am I gonna condense it in less than 10 minutes? But it got me thinking, and it was those little things that people did for me that stuck out and made an impact on my associate member experience. And that's what I want to touch on today. But first, the importance of belonging for every member, no matter what age. From a member standpoint, it's pretty obvious when you're in your own shoes and you can be yourself. It makes your 4 years or more, depending on who you are, more enjoyable and that much more memorable. But from a different standpoint, like let's say a president's or an executive board standpoint, you see belonging as, and I know this sounds cliche, the key to success or the key to growth. You see grades go up, attendance, participation, but most importantly, motivation goes up to do more and to be more. All of that couldn't happen if your members didn't feel as if they belong. But where belonging becomes crucial is for when we have those members where we sometimes coin as on the edge or burnout members. And that's inevitable. It's easy to fall out of focus, and it could happen to anyone at any point in their collegiate experience. But belonging is what's going to save those members and their memberships. So what's a good starting point? Where can we open up the opportunity for members to feel as if they can belong? And I think that's recruitment. It's one of the most, if not the most important times of the year. And if you think back, all right, when you were going through house to house, thinking about what house you wanted to join, all of these guys were saying all these facts about philanthropy, service, and brotherhood. And it hit a point where they all seemed kind of the same, and it was kind of tough to differentiate it from it all. This is where the other side of recruitment needs to swoop in, the fraternity side, the DU side. This is where we need to pick up kind of where everyone else is leaving off, or pick up the slack. How are we gonna use our values to the advantage of them and to the advantage of us? How are we gonna stand out amongst the rest of the 20 or so houses on campus? Now, the first starting point that we've been implementing for a while that I think is very beneficial is showing the Cornerstone. Have it out, let them see it. You don't have to necessarily read it to them. I actually advise you not to. But in doing so, you seem very transparent, and you're not gonna kind of blindside them with a bunch of sacred rituals that they never saw coming. What other house is gonna hand you their secrets right off the bat? And the next thing is to make the conversation casual. You know, like I said, you wanna stray away from that scripted, more interview-like kind of dialogue that everyone else is doing. That's gonna make you stand out in itself, and that's gonna open up the opportunity for members to feel as if they can belong. And the next thing is to showcase diversity. When you showcase diversity, you promote individuality. And that was the one thing that stuck out to me when I saw all the other houses compared to DU. Because if you familiarize these members with the diverse nature, not just in the demographic sense, but as a whole, DU, we said this entire weekend, we're paving ways, and we're leaders in the Greek life community. Take that and run with it. And the last thing is to never end a conversation. I know at Bradley we have like a time limit for each house for people to meet them just so it's fair. Never end the conversation, don't close it out. Maybe later on that week, tell them to go get food with you, go play basketball or Fortnite, and carry on what you guys were talking about. And that way you're not leaving them with the impression that you said the script and you're done and now they're on their own. Now, I didn't want that to turn into like a little crash course in recruitment, but I do think it's a great point to start on for members that are looking for a shift in numbers or overall enhancement in their members' experiences. So let's say they joined, you have this great recruitment class. What do we do now? How do we promote belonging? Now, the one thing that I always love to talk about and that I always love to suggest is giving people roles. Now, I know there's only so many positions and chairmen outlined in your bylaws, but that doesn't mean you can't encourage or create your own. Now, my story is a little bit different, I presume, is that as members in our chapters, in that I started off a little bit different. I was really quiet, didn't really come around for a semester. Some people didn't even know I was a member at DU. But I was working all the time, I had practice, and I had class, and I just wasn't going to stuff. I only showed up at chapter. And it got to a point where I saw everyone else was so immersed in the fraternity, making so many memories, so many relationships, and I just kind of felt like not a part of it at all. And I'm not gonna lie, the idea of dropping wasn't so far-fetched. But all of that changed after one little conversation that I had with one of my brothers, and I was at work. And he came in, he was really frustrated, and he was mad because he had recently got his hair cut. And the lady had messed it up. And he was really mad. He's like, man, I just wasted some money. I usually go back to my guy back at home, and I needed something in a pinch, and now I have to wear a hat for like 2 months. And he asked me, he's like, where did you get your hair cut? And when I told him that I did it myself, a little light bulb sparked. He was like, you gotta do mine. You gotta fix it. I just wasted my money, and I'm really mad. Later on that night, we ended work early, and we went over to the fraternity house, and we pulled up a chair and a mirror, busted out the clippers, and I went to town. And it was from there that other people would stop by, and they're like, what's going on here? They're like, who is this guy, and why is he cutting your hair? And that was where things kind of took off. More and more people started asking for their haircut. 1, it was cheap. 2, it was convenient. And 3, they didn't have to go anywhere. They already lived there. But it was from there that I got to build my own credibility and kind of create a unique relationship with the chapter. When they were sitting down and I was cutting their hair, I call them my victims, and I get to know them. They get to know me. And it was kind of like picking up the slack from what I missed the last semester. Now, I'm not advising everyone to go out and learn how to cut hair. It's not the most fun. But I'm saying take whatever you have, take your interests and skills, and run with it. Maybe you're the guy that knows how to fix phones or fix cars, or you have a nice camera, you can take pictures. Do whatever it is, or be that person to bring it out in someone else, because you can find that place in your chapter that probably was never there before. Now, I know I rambled on about that story, I apologize. It's just one that I love talking about, and it's one that's gotten me to the position I am today. My next point I want to jump to is tailoring events to your chapter's liking. Now, in my chapter, we have opportunities to volunteer at like a middle school in the area, and honestly, there wasn't the best turnout, doesn't ever have the best turnout. That could be for whatever reason. Maybe the guys don't like kids, or they're not meant to be a tutor, or maybe they need tutoring themselves, something like that. So scrap the idea. Change isn't bad. Maybe transition to something that everyone's interested in. We recently transitioned over into volunteering at our Civic Center, and we had an opportunity to work a March Madness tournament, and that was probably the best turnout we've ever had. And my guys could agree, we're probably gonna do that again. And I'm just saying, you need to scrap ideas. There's nothing wrong with changing or breaking tradition to see some improvement. That could be tailored to brotherhood events, chapter games, something like that. But take that, whatever it is, and implement it into your structure and into your calendar. My next point is handing down letters a little early. Now, if your chapter is anything like mine, we usually leave that up to seniors to take that on before they graduate. But it's not a bad idea to hand down letters early on, or right off the bat, or when you think that those members are on the edge or becoming burnouts. And if you're anything like me, when you joined, you had a rush shirt, and you probably had whatever you begged your parents to buy you. But I had one rush shirt, and it didn't even fit me. I'm like a hefty 4 feet tall, stuff that doesn't come in my size. And I just didn't feel like I had that sense of belonging, because when you put your letters on, like, you feel like you belong in that self. So what I had was a senior come to me, and he said, I want you to have this one jersey and this one jersey and one hoodie that doesn't fit me anymore, and I think it'll really suit you well. He told me this great story behind it and why it was handed down to him and why he wanted to hand it down to me. And I'm talking about it today. Obviously, it has made an impact on my associate member experience. And from there, I will always remember it. Every time I see them, I always tell them like, hey, I still wear that, or this is what I put on the back of it. And it was just something really meaningful to me. And I know we all have shirts, long sleeves, hoodies that we don't wear for whatever reason. Take that and hand it off to someone, because I promise it'll make an impact on them. And the last point that I want to make is that at our house, what I love the most is that we have an open door policy. Everyone has their door unlocked when they're not sleeping. And they have the door open, and it opens up the opportunity, especially for new members, to come and talk to you and to make that initial interaction with their brothers. And for members that have 100+ guys, it's a little hard to get to know everyone. And by doing so, if they have a question or if maybe they just want to know more about you, your door's open, literally, and they can come and ask you. That was just one little thing that I wanted to throw in there because it's something that I love about our house, and I hope that other houses implement as well. And I want to end with one little challenge that I'm going to be bringing back to my own chapter, and that is to do something for every single one of your members on your own time. It could be going to grab food, it could be playing basketball or playing Fortnite or something, whatever it is. That way you can say that you've had the opportunity to make a genuine interaction or a genuine connection with each and every one of your members. And like I said, if you have a bigger chapter, it's easier for smaller chapters. If you have a bigger chapter, it's a little bit harder to get to know everyone, especially if seniors are getting ready to hit the real world or guys that are fifth years and don't really come around much. Because you can miss out on a lot of great stories and a lot of great relationships that you wouldn't have had if you didn't reach out on your own. Now, like I said, all the little things that I said today are easy to do, but it's often that we overlook that we fail to do so for every member. And making these initial interactions with everyone is really crucial for the fraternity, but it's also beneficial after college, in the workforce, professionally, in the classroom, or in your social life. Being able to make other people feel as if they belong is something that's going to help you in the long run. Now, I know I rambled on about a lot of stuff, and I probably went over time, but I wanted to say thank you for having me up here. I feel honored to be a part of this evening and to be a part of this entire weekend even. But I hope that some chapters took what I said and would want to implement that back at their chapter houses. But I wanted to say I appreciate your time and I appreciate you guys being here. And I hope things that I said were helpful.